Let's talk about tumors that have both neuroendocrine features and epithelial features, most commonly adenocarcinoma, but sometimes a squamous cell carcinoma. These used to be called mannix for pretty obvious reasons. Well, we now call them minans because they are not all carcinomas, and the epithelial component is not always adenocarcinoma. Here's the first thing to remember. To call something a minan, at least a third of it needs to be endocrine and a third of it needs to be non-neuroendocrine. Now here's a minan that's read the textbook. Half of it is neuroendocrine and half of it is epithelial. Perfect, right? Unfortunately, there are more rules. One, you've got to see two distinct components. On the H&E guys, two components, one neuroendocrine and one epithelial. More rules, the neuroendocrine component must look neuroendocrine on an H&E, easier said than done. And two, the neuroendocrine component must stain for neuroendocrine markers, preferably two of these three markers. So let's see if this tumor obeys those two rules. Two distinct component, one definitely looks like adenocarcinoma and the other does not. Check. The non-adenocarcinoma component looks relatively monotonous and has this nested pattern. Definitely looks endocrine. Check. And what looks like the neuroendocrine component is diffusely and strongly positive for chromogranin. What looks like adenocarcinoma is generally negative. So check, check, check. So at least a third of this is neuroendocrine, at least a third of this is adenocarcinoma. You have two very distinct components on the H&E. The neuroendocrine component looks neuroendocrine on H&E and stains for neuroendocrine markers. And so this is indeed a minan, but there are more rules to follow, but you'll have to wait for a couple of days to hear all about them. Until then, bye-bye.